Bienvenidos a esta presentación del pretérito. Today we're going to focus on a group of irregular verbs that are called the Fujis. Not these Fujis, but the Fujis where the F, the U, the J, and the I of the word Fuji all have a group of irregulars associated with it. The first group, the F group, are simply the verbs ir and ser. Ir, of course, means to go, and ser means to be. And what's peculiar about these two is that both are conjugated in exactly the same way. Fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fueron. The word fuiste can mean you went or you were. Fuimos, we went or we were. And the way you know the difference is by the context of the sentence. Please note that none of these verbs have accent marks. The U, the J, and the I group are all related. The U group of the Fujis work like this. Estar, poder, poner, saber, and tener have a new stem in the preterite. It's called the U group because the new stem, estuv, pud, pus, sup, tub, all have a U in the stem. How these work is that you take the new stem and to it you add these endings. E, iste, o, imos, yeron. Now these endings are slightly different from the AR and ER verb endings that we are accustomed to in the preterite. So if we conjugate estar, for example, estuve, estuviste, estuvo, estuvimos, estuvieron. None of the endings for the U group, or any Fuji for that matter, have an accent mark. The J group is very similar with one slight difference. Again, all of the new stems are related because they have a J in the stem. To these we add the endings that we saw on the previous slide with the U group with one exception. E, iste, o, imos, and the last ending for the third person plural is not yeron, but eron, with just an E-R-O-N. If we conjugate the verb decir, which means to say or to tell, in the preterite, dije, dijiste, dijo, dijimos, dijeron. Again, none of these have an accent mark, and the third person plural is with an E-R-O-N ending rather than an I-E-R-O-N. And the I group of the Fuji verbs picks up an I in the stem. Querer, venir, hacer become quis, been, is. We'll talk about why hacer has an asterisk in a moment, but to these we add the same endings as the U group. E, iste, o, imos, yeron. So the U and the I group have an I in the third person plural form, yeron. The J group does not. I'm going to conjugate hacer for this example to show you why hacer is a bit more irregular than just the fact that it has a new stem and different endings. Hice, hiciste, hizo, hicimos, hicieron. What's peculiar is that the Z in hizo is necessary. If it were a C, it would be pronounced ico, and we want to maintain the same sound of the C in the infinitive hacer. In order to do so, the C changes to a Z. Practiquemos. The yo form of ir is fui. The boys came. Los chicos vinieron. She and I wanted. Ella y yo quisimos. The student, a female, put. La estudiante puso. You plural, or you all, were. Ustedes estuvieron. Juan did or Juan made. Juan hizo. Hopefully you remembered that this was spelled with a Z rather than a C. My grandfather was. Mi abuelo fue. You told. And since you're speaking to a friend, it's a to form. Tú dijiste. We had. Nosotros tuvimos. And I drove. Yo conduje. Gracias por ver esta presentación y te deseo mucho éxito.